All right, we are now live in our Kickstart 2024 Your Nurse Biz Challenge Day 2. I'm excited to be here. I'm just checking our feeds, making sure all is going well, and it looks like everything's going well. We are currently live in our groups, so I'm excited. So, welcome to those of you that are in the Nurse Shark Academy Challenge group, and I want to thank you for being here. And welcome to those of you that are on our our LinkedIn page on the Nurse Shark Academy. And then also, welcome to those of you that are on our YouTube channel. I want to say thank you for tuning in today. I'm very excited to be here for our day 2. So I hope you enjoy day 1. You can still check out the replay. I will leave the replay up for about a week. And then the replays are coming down because, you know what? We want to make sure that we give you great content every time we do this challenge. And so I encourage you to tune in and invite other people to come in. Again, there's no cost. It's free to join in the challenge here. You can just come on over to our page and take a watch. So I want to thank you for being here. For those of you who are here and it's day 1 for you, great. Welcome. Don't forget to post any comments here or any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. And then we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'll tell you a little bit more about my entrepreneurial journey as we get ready to start for day 2. So yesterday I talked about how I became an accidental on purpose entrepreneur by starting out as a side hustler and just teaching CPR classes on the side. Well, I fast forward to several years, had become a nurse practitioner, and I found myself in between jobs. And I decided I was going to write a book, and it would happen to be a fiction book, which I have not yet finished the fiction book, but I was starting to write a book. And so I asked a friend of mine, hey, can I just lease some space? She was starting a business. Can I just lease some space in your area so I could have a quiet place to write this book? And she said, you can. However, it would be really great if you'd come and help me with this business. And so that's how I got started in really understanding business and entrepreneurship. We started out as 3 business partners, building a CNA training school from the ground up, leasing space, working through the challenges of doing those things, how to do the startup process, and writing our business plan. And we've went through all of those steps, right, that you do when you're launching your business. And we made sure that we followed through with what we need to do with the state and the insurances that you need, all these different things, putting in policies and procedures in place, those things that you don't think about on the back end, but are so very important. And we learned at every step of the way that maybe we needed to have a policy. And in fact, there is an instance where we realized we needed to have a sexual harassment policy. We didn't have one because of an incident that happened between 2 students. And so I wanted to make sure that we included those things in our student code of conduct, And so these things we've learned as we went along in business. And then there's a whole lot of other things that I learned being in business, particularly with having business partners and what does that mean. And then I've had the experience of closing a business and what does that look like as well. I say all that because I want you to understand a little bit where I'm coming from with my journey and the reason why I'm here today and what I do. And it's during that process that people were asking me questions about how do I do this? How do I get an LLC? How do I write up a policy? How do I negotiate a contract? All these questions people were asking me. And so that's how I got into consulting and coaching. Because I wanted to help other nurses do what I did, which was start a business. And it was from that initial start of that business that made me realize there's so much more out there for nurses to do that nurses could be. And not just nurses, because I've had the fortune of working with social workers and working with massage therapists, and I've had the privilege of working with so many different people in the industry in healthcare that want to do something different than just working at the bedside. And I'm not saying that I don't, please don't get me wrong. We need bedside nurses, we need bedside technicians, we need bedside workers, period. We need housekeeping, we need everyone. But there comes a point in your life when maybe that's not fulfilling to you any longer, or you physically can't do it any longer. And I certainly met a lot of nurses along the way that physically they could not continue the job. And so they wanted to still use their nursing degree. And so my philosophy is don't leave your profession. You can leave your job, but you don't have to leave your profession. So I want you to be able to take the time to discover what works for you. Now, yesterday we kind of talked a little bit about at the end those people that are still working for a 9 to 5 corporate job, whatever, however you want to label it. Those that are still employees. What I found, because I did that too. I don't know if you know my background, but I was a nurse manager and a nurse supervisor and in healthcare and leadership. And what I discovered were the best workers, the best employees were those that were entrepreneurial in their thinking, meaning those employees that could see a problem and find a solution and then help others find solutions to their problems. And so everything that I'm teaching today, you can certainly take to your 9 to 5 job and look at your career and your position and where you are and where you want to go. And maybe corporate leadership is where you are meant to be. And if you are called to do that, I applaud you because I think that's wonderful. We need great leaders. We need great leaders to stand up for the nurses at the bedside and the brand new grads that are coming in. We need great leaders. So please hear me when I say this. Entrepreneurship isn't the only path of forward. And so you may have an idea that you want to bring to the marketplace through your 9 to 5 job, but you have to understand what does that look like and how do you negotiate those things, because everything that you create for them becomes their intellectual property. So you need to make sure that you yourself are protected in what you're doing. And that goes into a whole other conversation that we don't have time to have today. But I want to say this, that even if you're working, and maybe this is your brand new job, you're a brand new nurse and you're watching this, you need to think about the trajectory of your career, because your license is your business. Whether you believe it or not, whether you understand it or not, if you're not protecting your own nursing license, you're not protecting your business. And so you need to be entrepreneurial in your thinking, even if you're a travel nurse, even if you're a unit nurse, even if you're the CNA working at the nursing home, you need to be entrepreneurial in your thinking, because your license, your certification is your business, and that's how you maintain your family and your livelihood. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start by sharing the slides. And so we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to make it bigger for me because, bifocals. I'm going to start our day 2 of our challenge. I'm so excited. So yesterday, we kind of went over our 2023 review and we celebrated our wins. Today, we're going to do more. Today, we're going to get into the nitty gritty. So let's get started. So our mission at the Nurse Shark Academy is for you to own your seat at the table of nurse entrepreneurship, gaining confidence, skills, and freedom to live your life on your own terms. You will dream big and expand your consciousness as an entrepreneur. Our vision, my vision for you is for nurses to reclaim the love that they have for their profession. That's what I want to see. I want to see nurses fall back in love with nursing. So let's get started, because we have to start with your mindset. As we get ready for today, you have to start with a mindset. And this is from Mark Goldston, who wrote Get Out of Your Own Way at Work. And I've had this book for years. It really helped me when I was working as a nurse manager on the unit. And he says, you may waste time because you're in a reactive mode, meaning that you don't make and take time to think. You may also feel that you're doing more faster will make you more effective. You probably feel like you spend all day at work reacting to stuff, email, documents, requests. Here's the irony, and it's huge. By taking time to think, and by that I mean adopting a proactive measure twice, cut once strategy to your workday, week, and month, you save time because you're more effective and the quality of your work will be better. This is why I want us to enter that with the mindset that we're going to be proactive in 2024 and not just reactive. Because had I been just reactive in 2023, I don't think I would have had the first quarter that I did, which helped carry me from quarters 2 and 3 to now quarter 4. I say that because we have to start the year off right and recognize that things are going to happen. People are going to come with requests. We're going to get those emails, those documents, those rush jobs, and those things that happen. But we have to be proactive. And one of the ways that I did that is I wanted to be able to have my Christmas break with my family without worrying about the challenge or worrying about getting the podcast episode out. So I was proactive and got all those things done before I left and set it on autopilot so that it was already happening while I was having fun. It was being posted and happening. Being proactive. And this is what I mean, that you have to anticipate that there's going to be something that's going to come in to distract you. Something's going to happen. Life is going to happen. It happens to us all. So by being proactive, you anticipate those things and put in those measures that can help you reach your goals, and knowing that there may be something that may cause you to make a shift or a pivot. So here are some tough questions that you need to ask yourself. What didn't work last year in your business? And as I was reflecting on that, what were some of the things that didn't work well in my business last year? And I think it was, for me, was taking my eye off of the thing that I most importantly do. That didn't work for me. I realized I have to set systems in place so that I'm working on all aspects of my business at any given time, and so that all of it gets my attention and I don't just focus on the one thing, because I get excited about a certain project and everything else falls to the wayside because I'm on this project, and then other things start to fall apart. So I recognize that did not work for me last year. And as someone who's been described as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, I realized that what does work for me is if I put it on the calendar, if I plan it out, if I time block time for each activity, for each part of the business, and I anticipate that it's going to be there. I know it's there. I set aside this time. And if I have to make a shift here or there, it's very easy to do because I've already pre-planned what I was working on. So this is my why didn't it work and how I can do something differently. And so I'm starting 2024 with a plan. I'm working on my plan right now for 2024 so that I'll have it plotted out, because worked really well for me was making sure I had time on my schedule for podcast editing. I time blocked that time. I time blocked the time for a recording. I time blocked the time for putting out the promotions. And so I'm encouraging you to think about this, on what didn't work in your business, why it didn't work, and then how can you do something differently. And where is it that I may have blind spots or areas where I need to grow? So those of you who were with me last year, when we had this challenge last year, we did the I'm Ready challenge. One of the blind spots that I had discovered in 2022 going into 2023 was that I was working with coaches, paying for coaching, asking for help in certain areas, but yet I wasn't willing to take their advice. And I said, why are you paying for something if you're not intending to do it? And so that made a mindset shift that maybe they were right. And so once I started opening myself up to the teachings and the learnings, the things that I had, the more I started to see the growth. And it was like my eyes were open to the potential of the resources that I had. The other thing that happened for me in 2023 is I realized that I had some feelings left over from my last business that I hadn't really worked out, and that it was causing a blind spot for me. And it was an area that I needed to grow. And then after an hour-long session with a very wonderful gentleman who took his time with me, free of charge. This was a complimentary session. I appreciate his help so much. It helped me because I think for the first time, somebody actually listened to me and I got to talk about it. other than family, obviously. um, it occurred to me that I had a heart wound that needed healing. And so I went to an inner healing session because I wanted to make sure that these blind spots that I have, these areas where I needed growth, that they weren't hindering me from the process that I needed. And so I needed to let some things go and recognize some things that in me that caused some of the issues that we had. So I needed to grow in that area, and that really was helpful for me in 2023. And then you ask yourself, what should be on my growth plan for 2024? And I'm not talking about just your business growth plan, because there's obviously some things you want to do for your business, but there are some things that you need to do also internally for yourself. And one of the things that I wanted to work on in 2024 was being able to be a little bit more organized in how I approach some projects and things that I'm doing. And you're probably saying, wait a minute, you need to be more organized? Yes. Because what I realized when I streamlined the processes, and I learned this through doing the podcast, it made my life easier. When I started putting the things in place, once they're built, things kind of work on their own. And it's very helpful to do that. So, what I wanted to do is to go back and scale back and take a look at some of the things that I've been doing, and maybe I can automate some of those processes going forward. So that's some of the things that I was looking at for 2024. That's part of my growth plan. So that's on my business plan, but on my personal plan, what's on my growth plan for 2024? Well, one of the things I started to do in 2023 was take, my health a lot more seriously. And so I'm working on my growth plan of taking my health seriously and adding things onto my calendar, into my life, into my daily routine that will support my health. That's what I plan to do. I realize I have one body, I've got to keep it up, right? So that's on my plan for 2024. That's on my personal side of my growth plan. And with that came this epiphany. I'm a creature of habit. I don't like change. I'm one of those people that I struggle with change. I recognize that, which is helpful for me to recognize that. So as I was talking about this year, they stopped making the planner that I liked. The physical planner that I write things out, because I plan and write it all out, I move it around before I put it in my electronic calendar. Because once it's there, it's kind of set in my head. So I like to plan things out. And so they didn't have a planner that I liked. So I was really frustrated by this. It's like, I want the planner. I've had the same planner, the same design style for years. And I was so frustrated. So I'm going to the store and I need a planner. January 1's coming up. I'm going through and I'm looking at this planner and I see a different planner and it has parts on there for your personal. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll just get this. I need something. So I grabbed it, bought it. Well, I happened to be at the store in Ohio when I was visiting family, and I needed to get something printed, and they had my old planner there. And I looked through it, I saw it, I was kind of excited to see it, and then I just didn't get excited about it. Because I'd already made in my mind that I was going to make a change for 2024. And since things are evolving and changing, let's go ahead and change some things in 2024. And so part of my growth plan is accepting of change. And I thought, I'm not going to buy this planner, which costs almost twice than what I paid for the other planner. And even though the style is different and it has other columns, it actually fits my lifestyle now better, the new planner, than the old planner would. And so I was able to make a change. That's a personal change on my growth plan, to be able to accept change and to roll with it and to look for the new. I said, we're all about the new for 2024. So what do you need to add for your personal growth plan? So let's take a look at your homework from yesterday. Remember our homework from yesterday? Looking at your business's financial statement and measuring your profitability. Where are you with that? Because we're going to take what you just did yesterday and we're going to apply it today. Assess your business efficiency. And this is where I was looking at those processes that I need to change. And what really worked well was being efficient and having a plan for when I do certain things. It worked out well for me. And so I want to adopt that mentality to my other processes so that things will go out better. And one of the things that I realized I did not have was a solid marketing plan. And that's what I'm working on in 2024. Customer satisfaction. And so that's another area that I was looking at. So this is another part of your homework. What was your customer satisfaction? What are your customers telling you? And what is a need that they have that maybe you haven't been meeting, but now you have a new idea of maybe a niche or a product that may solve their problem, because that's what we're here for, is we're to solve the problems. And then check your customer pipeline. Understand how much it costs for you to acquire those customers. And so those are some of the things that I do, is I check those customer pipelines. And I look at where I'm spending the most of my dollars to acquire that new client, and how much it will cost for me to get the person in the seat. And so these are the things that I'm looking at. And then employee satisfaction. Are we making what we need to for employees? And so this is something else that you did in your homework. What are your employees telling you? Maybe they need more support. Maybe they need more guidance. Maybe they need more affirmation from you. Maybe they need more direction because they're not sure where you're headed. And so they're not sure what their role is or how they're supposed to respond. And so these are things that you may want to be asking your employees. And then identify any market changes. What changed in the market? These are the things you were working on yesterday. And I have to say, one of the things that changed in our market is that the world started opening up again and people were going back into the office. And so more live events were happening, face-to-face events. And so I shifted to making sure that we're not only just doing the virtual events, but now we're doing more in-person events. And we're traveling more now. And so these are changes in the market. And then the competitor analysis. And so in looking at the competition out there are many coaches, there's many consultants out there. What makes us different from those others? And how can we meet those needs that are out there that maybe they don't quite hit that particular niche? And so I looked at the marketplace and I saw there's a lot of nurses that need help in the startup process. A lot of coaches, and they're wonderful and great, and I certainly work with them, are great when you are already established and are moving in a certain direction. But a lot of times it's answering those nitty gritty, down to the baseline questions of, how do I get started? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? How do I find the information? And one of my strengths is research. And I'm very good at that. So I can research an industry. I don't have to be in that industry. I can research that industry, find the people you need to talk to. And so when I'm doing this is what you need to do for yourself. Go through this whole process for yourself, for your business, for your personal life, right? Because you need to know what needs to change. Maybe it's your household budget, and maybe you need to look at the finances of your household budget and where you're spending extra money, and maybe planning a little bit better can decrease the cost of spending for delivery. And so I looked at that in our household budget and I said, hey, wait a minute. I can have the same amount of food or even better food if I make it myself the night before, pack my lunch, and I don't have to call DoorDash, Uber Eats, and all the rest of them all the time, because that gets expensive. And so when you look at that, look at those things, you can apply some of these things to your personal life as well, which will help you. So using that, so all that information, what we did from yesterday, and if you haven't had a chance to do it, screenshot this. So you can go ahead and do this today, because we're going to use this information. Because we're going to talk about your SWOT analysis. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Now, you've probably heard about this. If you've been in business for a while, this is not a new concept. But I think what a lot of times we fail to do is to implement those things that we know. And so one of the things that I looked at, and what I look at every year, is I do a SWOT for our business. and look at what our strengths are, whatever our advantages. One of our advantages really is that we have a physical location, which a lot of people don't have. And I realize that as a CPR instructor, a lot of people are renting places or leasing places or trying to find church basements or wherever they can have their classes. But because we have a leased space, because we do other things, that is an advantage for me that I don't have to run around trying to find a space every time I want to have a class. So one of the things I was able to do was put the class on autopilot and just schedule the time every month. I don't have to try to find a day, pick a date. I know when the classes are going to be. It's already scheduled out for several months in the future. It's on the website. You just sign up and get into the class. And I'm going to automate that information enrollment. So that's one of our strengths. You're going to look at your capabilities, right? And so when you're looking at your capabilities, think about those things that you're able to do, right? So one of the capabilities that we have is the area of growth. We can actually grow in the area that we are in. That's one of our capabilities. We can move on. One of our assets. What's our assets? We now have our intellectual property is on the website and available. That's an asset for us. Another strength is my experience in the business and having been in business and having been in management and having been a nurse for several years, my experiences. So when you're looking at that and you're bringing out your strengths, look at what strengths you have. So let's look at this for a minute. Because let's say you're a nurse. Let's say you're a brand new nurse. We're going to take this and look at what a brand new nurse could bring to the table. You're a brand new nurse. What are your advantages? You've completed your schooling. You got your nursing license. What are your capabilities? You are able to move into different areas because you're brand new. You're not locked into any particular specialty. So you have the capability to be more flexible. So flexibility is a strength for you. What are your assets? You have your nursing degree, you have your nursing license, you have that first position. That's your asset. What's your experience? You bring in the wealth of your experience behind you. You've worked as a CNA, perhaps. That is an experience that you have carried into your training, which was very helpful for me. I already knew how to make a bed, so I could pass bed making. I didn't have a problem with that. I had already taken care of a patient, so I wasn't scared to go in and take care of a patient. So those are experiences that you bring to the table. And I'm talking about a brand new nurse now. You've got those experiences you can bring to the table. And quality, the quality of your work. You learn by the book, so already you have those good practices in place. You haven't yet learned how to take those shortcuts that may or may not be appropriate. Right? So the quality of your work could be there, although there may be some issues as well because you're new, you're learning. So here are your weaknesses and your disadvantage. You're brand new. You haven't been on the floor long. You may have worked as a tech and understand a little bit how hospital works, but now you're suddenly the charge nurse, which is what happened to me. My first night off of orientation as a brand new nurse, I'm suddenly charge nurse on the third floor on the detox unit. That can happen. There are gaps. Maybe you don't have the experience yet or the knowledge yet because you're brand new, and that's okay. So you recognize, hey, I've got to learn some new processes. I don't have all the policies and procedures memorized. Who does? So there's gaps in my experience. I'm not sure about all the procedures. I have to learn some of those things. There's new things that they're teaching me because you learn things on the job. And then maybe it's a cash flow issue. You got those student loans to pay back. So that might be a weakness that you have. And so these are things that you'll look at and how to navigate to make your business, your license go forward, right? There could be some losses. And maybe you've lost some time with, friends and family because you've been in nursing school and now you're working holidays, et cetera, et cetera. And so you may not get a chance to see your family as much and your friends as much. So maybe could be some issues with some relationships and you have to work on that. But it also could be some losses in that suddenly You no longer are a student, but now you're a professional, and there's a shift in mindset there because now you got to take care of everything, and you're now adulting, right? And that could be an issue. Could be a very big a change, and I've certainly experienced it. If you've been around, it's a shock when you get that first check and you see all those taxes taken out and having to make all those decisions about insurances and all these things and houses and apartments and all those things. Those things happen as you grow up, right? So those may be some losses that you may have, a loss of freedom at that time because now you have to work that 9 to 5, and then you could identify some areas to improve. And maybe you need to work on your time management. Maybe you need to recognize that mom's not going to be there to wake you up to go to work, and you have to set your alarm and be intentional and leave an extra hour or half hour early to get to work because you don't know what the weather is going to be like or the traffic. So all those things may be in there. Now I'm using this as an example so that you can take this and apply it to your business or even your personal life if you want. And then some opportunities. What are some opportunities where there's areas to improve? That's actually an opportunity if you identify them. Hey, that's a weakness, but it's also an opportunity. And so one of the things that I've learned in my area to improve is I needed to have a marketing plan. Maybe for a brand new nurse, the area to improve is I need to go take that extra class or the extra assignment so I can learn how to do a new skill and add it to my toolbox. New products. Maybe you, because you're brand new, you've got fresh eyes and you can see a problem and help solve it because you got the brand new eyes. You thought, why are we doing it this way when this way is so much easier? So it takes less time and it's more efficient and it works better for the patient. Maybe you can be the one to bring new products and new processes to the market. New trends and innovations. I don't know about you, but AI is out there and they're embracing it in healthcare. I just covered this on the news show yesterday about how some AI is working and using it for decision making for clinicians, like physicians, nurse practitioners, physician assistants. And so, what does that mean? What innovations are out there? How can you take advantage of that? And maybe you can find a new way. Maybe you can come up with a way of scheduling people that helps them get their schedule, choose the schedule that they want, make sure all the needs are met in the unit, and have safer staffing. Maybe that's your job, and maybe that's what you can bring to the marketplace. And then key partnerships. Who can you partner with that can help you with this? Is there a mentor on the unit that you can partner with so you can learn those new skills as a new nurse? Do you have a professional mentor, someone that maybe doesn't work in your hospital but maybe works somewhere else, or you're part of an association that can help you navigate those things? That certainly has been so helpful for me when I was a brand new legal nurse consultant to have those key partnerships so that I can understand what I should and shouldn't do and how I should work. And the same thing when I was a brand new nurse, knowing who I can go to and talk to. And the fact that I had a group of women that surrounded me in my community who were all nurses, who were rooting for me to do well, was very important to me. So finding those key partnerships, maybe they can help bring your business further, your career further. And then the threats. What threats are there? Well, the economy. What's going on with the economy? The ups and downs with the economy. Maybe your 401k isn't doing as well. All those different things that we may want to look at, the stock market, whether or not you're actually putting money in your 401k or planning for your retirement, particularly if you are a brand new nurse. It could be the fact that you have those student loans to pay, those outside things, and now they're knocking on your door. So how many extra shifts do you have to pick up to help pay back those loans? Or maybe you sign a contract that says you have to work this particular unit or this particular hospital for so long, and they'll help you pay back your loans. All those different things, you need to make sure that you take a look at those things. Any obstacles? What obstacles could be in the way? Well, perhaps you want to take a class, but it's hard for you to get off time off to go take the class. So maybe you have to take it at night, or maybe you have to do it online so you can take it at your leisure. What are some of those obstacles to getting to where you want to be? If you're looking at your brand new career as a nurse, oftentimes they want you to spend some time working as a nurse before you go back to graduate school. So that could be a barrier or an obstacle. but it can also be an opportunity because you can take that obstacle and turn it into an opportunity to get you ready and prepare to go to grad school by getting those experiences that you need and getting you ready. And then looking at your competitors in your business, and maybe they have come up with a better way to make a widget or come up with a better process, or maybe they have a perk package that's better than yours or something like that for your employees. Whatever that threat may be, looking at your competitors and looking at that as an opportunity as well, because you can change that and say, okay, they may do XYZ much better, but I do ABC the best. And so maybe you lean into what you do best. And then political and environmental effects. And I talk a little bit about this, and not to be very political, but we don't know what's happening with our political system these days. Um, Yesterday I talked about the federal bill that was out there for to make threats against healthcare workers a protected class nationally on the federal level, and that there'll be more time in jail, et cetera, because of all the violence against healthcare workers right now. And so when you're looking at your political system, obviously the bill didn't go anywhere. And so your questions are why. So looking at your business and looking at your life and what you're working on. Maybe you're working on the unit and violence is an issue for you and you're worried about your safety. That could be a factor. And you can say, okay, well, we can't get anything done on a national level, but maybe on the state level, we can do this. And Michigan has certainly just done that. And so that's where this story has come out of. And so looking at those political things, and also maybe you're at one of those hospitals that's going on strike. And what does that mean? So these things can happen. These are outside of you. These aren't things that you can control. But how do you respond to that? And then any market changes. You know, Certainly a lot of nurses were traveling during the pandemic and they were making great amount of money, which I applaud them. They deserve it, right? But then once the pandemic started slowing down, people started coming back to work. Things were going, a little bit better. We got a grip on things. Those lucrative contracts may not be out there as much. And so you may have to roll with those market changes. And so this is how you put in this SWOT analysis. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about it, not from just a business standpoint, although certainly you can use this for your business, but also from a career standpoint, and do the same thing for your career. And so that's your homework for tonight, is to work on your SWOT analysis. And so let's take a look at this. So when we're talking about that competitor analysis, one of the things that I wanted to really hone in on, because a lot of people are like, well, how do I assess my competitors? Well, I looked at, I decided to use as an example, nursing assistant training school, right? So use the SWOT analysis again for your competitor. And you can use that same thing that we just did and look at your competitor's strengths. What are their strengths? Maybe they have affordable services, right? Small class size, experienced staff. These are their strengths. And I just use my own school as an example. What are their weaknesses? Limited time availability, right? So maybe your times aren't as flexible as some of the other schools, and maybe they can come in and do their classes whenever. Limited online presence. So maybe your online presence isn't as well known, right? Lack of clinical sites available. And that's been a big issue across the board for a lot of programs, is finding clinical sites for their students. And this is a weakness that's there. Some opportunities: increased interest in online training. There's a lot of students that really would like to do as much as they can online. And a shortage of quality workers for long-term care. So we know that they're going to need more staff, because if these federal mandates actually come to fruition and they actually get implemented, they're going to need more staff. So we know that. So that's an opportunity. If you're a nursing assistant training school, hey, that's a great opportunity for you. And then expansion of the role of the nurse aide, and we've certainly seen that because they're needing more staff. They a lot of times they want nurses aide to do more, and so now we have qualified medication aides, at least in the state of Indiana, that are able to give insulin if they take an extra class. Whether or not I agree with it, that's neither here nor there. It's a role and a function that's now part of what they can do if they take that extra training. So those are some of the opportunities out there. And then some of the threats. Well, there may be many competitors in your area. So maybe there's the local community college, and there's this the some of the nursing homes are running their own program, so they don't need to send anyone to your program, that type of thing. Pandemic fatigue, that's a big one. This is something that I we can't control, right? So, pandemic fatigue. People are just tired. They don't want to go work in the field because they don't want to be around people that are sick all the time. They're tired of working in the pandemic. They're tired of dealing with COVID and all this stuff, and they're worried about the risks to their family. So there's that going on, and people are leaving the bedside because of those reasons, and so that is a threat as well. And then low wages, and that's always been the point of contention because I've had a nurse aide come to me and say, "Why would I go work, put up with abuse, potential for infection, and low wages when I can go work for fast food and make the same amount of money flipping burgers?" So those are those external threats that may come over there, and so then you're going to explain what you're going to do. You're going to explain how you're going to provide quality maybe over the quantity. So in this section, this is where you explain, hey, you know what? Even though that competitor may have affordable prices and a small class size, the problem is they have limited availability in time. I can be more flexible in my time. Oh, also, that person isn't online like they should be. So I can ramp up my marketing to an online market. Lack of clinical sites available. So maybe I can foster relationships with local nursing homes that I know don't have their own programs and see if I can get an in there. So all these different things that you can do in your area. So this is why I encourage you to do this. And we're talking about kickstarting our 2024 and getting ready for the next year. And these are the things that you can do to prepare your business for success. All right, and so I'm going to leave this time for any comments. I don't see any comments or questions. I'm looking also in the live feed for Facebook in our group. All right, so let's go ahead and go on. All right, and so let's talk about your growth plan for 2024. And this could be in the area of your business, but also in your personal area. So you need to identify the skills needed to grow in the next year. So what are some of the things that you needed to do? So I'm going to tell you what I did for 2022. In 2022, I started learning how to make my own commercials. And some of you have seen them, which is why some of you are here. And so I started learning those skills, which led to me learning how to launch the podcast. And so because I had figured out how to launch the podcast, now what are the skills I need to grow? I'm going to be working on the marketing plan for the podcast and how to deal more with the marketing because I want to see that grow as well. And so these are some of the skills that I've identified for myself, but I want you to take a screenshot of this because you're going to be working on this. This is your homework for today. So you're going to do your SWOT analysis and you're going to work on your growth plan. Just identifying those areas that you need to work on. Tomorrow we're going to talk about setting goals, but today we're going to talk about just identifying those areas and where we need to set goals. So do you need to plan better and use a calendar system? And I've talked to many nurses and many professionals that don't have a calendar system. And I have to tell you, that was one of the best things I ever did was get a calendar system for people to go ahead and schedule a time to talk to me that is tied to my calendar so that I don't double book because I'm very bad about that. If you ask me, Kay, can you do so and so on such a date? I'm going to say yes if I don't have my calendar. I'm good. But now I've learned to say, oh, let me check my calendar and make sure no one's scheduled or I didn't schedule something there because I was the one that would say yes to everything. And then I find myself into 3 different events. And that happened to me a couple weeks ago. I was supposed to be in 3 different events at the same time, all online, obviously. And I just had to tell one, I said, hey, I know this came up, but I had a pre-scheduled event, 2 of them on this day, and I cannot make that until later. I'll drop in when I can because this, I let them know. I try not to triple book, but sometimes it happens. But do you have a calendar system in place that may help you? Maybe you need that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're good at keeping everything in your head. I'm not. I need that. Do you need to learn new software for your business? Maybe that is something that's new for 2024. Maybe you need to learn a new software. And I have certainly have learned a lot about using the platform that we're on, StreamYard. I've learned a lot about using StreamYard, and it's been very helpful for me. I learned how many during the pandemic learned all about Zoom and you didn't want to, or maybe Microsoft Teams or something like that, right? And so learning that new software, maybe that would help you further in your business. And then, do you need to develop a better social media plan and thus learn new technology? And so I talked to some nurses and they were saying, oh, I need to learn social media. And I said, you know what? Start with one platform and get really good at that. And then you can add others as you go along. And so I started off with Facebook. It worked. I started off with Facebook. That's what I really focused on. And then I added some other social media platforms and I started learning how to negotiate on them. And I learned what the pros and cons for each one was. Now I've expanded. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Alignable, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on several social media platforms, including some others. And but it started with me learning just one. And so what I'm saying is that maybe you need to learn one social media technology and go from there and grow there. Whatever it is that you need to further your business or maybe in your personal life, right? And so I want to give you this opportunity because we're about to wrap up here. We've 46 minutes in. And remember, I just keep you an hour. Nurses are busy. I get it. Healthcare people are busy. I get it. Business people are busy. We don't want to be here all day. We have tomorrow to go over some more. But I wanted to let you know that coming up on December the 30th, we do have our Freedom Finance Workshop. Now, we do have an early bird pricing of $37 for this workshop. We've done this workshop before. We did this workshop last year on LinkedIn. It was a LinkedIn only event, actually. And what we're going to talk about is how to finance your business, your small business, to gain your financial freedom. So we're going to talk about those things because a lot of times people say, how do I even get the startup costs? And how do I do this? And, how do I even, I don't even know where to start. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, of what the things that you can do to help finance your business dream. And it may start off with one thing. And I tell people this, I said, I didn't start off with all that we have accumulated here. I started off by buying one thing for my CNA training school. I started off with getting one thing, and I put an Amazon wish list in, and I would get one thing at a time, and I'd figure out how to finance this, and how do I get this, and what do I do for that. And I will talk about that in the Freedom Finance Workshop. So if you want to join us for that, that's on December the 30th. Sign up at the nurseSharkAcademy.biz. That's a $37, but after the early pricing goes away, it's going to be regular price of $47. We also have our Jumpstart Your Nurse Biz workshop coming up. And that's going to be on January the 2nd. So the early bird price for that is $197, and it goes up to its regular price of $497. So if you want to get started and you haven't started your nurse business yet, but you're chomping to get started in January and you want to start January 2nd, we will be getting started, and we'll be in that workshop, and we'll get you started on your business and help you lay that foundation so you can get your business started and where you need to go. So that workshop will be on January the 2nd. We also have our Business Builder Masterclass, and that will be starting up as well. And so you can join this program. It's a structured program. It means that you don't have to guess on how to build your business. We walk you through the process. We have a community, which means you aren't in business alone, but you have a community of like-minded nurses and entrepreneurs at your side to ask questions, help each other, help solve problems. You have a community. And then mentorship, which means you will have access to solid leadership and business principles through our community of experts. So you won't be left out in the cold if you join the Business Builder Masterclass, and that's a $14.97, and that is a 6-session class. So there's 6 sessions, not quite it's 6 weeks. It's every other week you meet, depending on where holidays fall and things like that. But you'll work on this, and we build your business from the ground up and help you with that. Or if you have to take something down and redo it, we help you go through all of that with a business builder masterclass. And so you can join any of those programs that we have, or you can become a member and you can join the Nurse Shark Academy. And so we have the Freedom Finance workshop, $47, the Jumpstart at $497, the Nursing Business Masterclass at $1497. You can certainly opt into all of those with a total value of $2,041. You can certainly opt into all of those and take any of those classes. Sign up at the nursesharkacademy.biz, or you become a member. And if you become a member of the Nurse Shark Academy, you get access to all of that and much more. You get access to all of our training videos and our archives. You get access to any classes or sessions that we bring up, because as a member, it's all part of your planning or part of your package. So you can do the Biz Builder course on its own, or you can become a member and pay upfront of $1,800, or pay $299.99 for 6 months, each month for 6 months, plus a $50 fee. Then you become a member of the Nurse Shark Academy. You get access to everything. And so very budget friendly to join for people who are in the startup. I think that the 6 month plan works really well for people who are just starting out. But your membership is for 6 months, and you have the option to renew. So you can renew as much as you want. And so you also get access to the live coaching calls, the one-on-one coaching sessions, the mastermind group. You get access to all of that, including the training courses that we have on legal nurse consulting, the training courses that we have on the Freedom Finance workshop. Is all part of that. You become part of that. You get the Jumpstart Biz program, as well as the Business Master course, Biz Builder course. So you get all of those different things, and then there's certain other things that we have, and access to the ebook. You get a free copy of the ebook as well, which is a Nurse Entrepreneur Business Starter ebook. So you get access to all of those things if you become a member. And so I told you as of yesterday, yes, there was going to be an offer, and the simple offer is just become a member of the Nurse Shark Academy or hop into one of our training courses. And certainly you can decide however you want to do this. And we'd love to have you aboard. And so those are all the things that I wanted to share with you as far as slides go. That's pretty much it. Don't forget to do your SWOT analysis. Those of you that are joining us for the extra session, which won't be recorded, but those of you that are joining us for the extra session afterwards, who went VIP, we'll actually be working on your SWOT analysis together in the next hour. So if you're interested in joining us for that, there's still time to get VIP. Sign up for your VIP ticket at the nursesharkacademy.biz. Be here for tomorrow, day 3, because we're going to talk about setting those goals for 2024. So I'm encouraging everyone to join us for this training and this challenge. Don't forget to share and like. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and post them in the chat in our Nurse Shark Academy group on Facebook. You can certainly post questions there. I'll respond to them. And then also those that are on our YouTube channel or on our website, you can also post questions there, or those that are on LinkedIn. All right, so we have about 7 minutes. So I'm going to give you 7 minutes back for your day and just say thank you for joining me today. Join the Nurse Shark Academy and become a member. I know for sure that you will grow and that we can be of help to you. And if we can't, no problem. If you don't like it, you can always opt out. That's no problem. So just, again, join the Nurse Shark Academy. I may not be for everyone, but I know I'm from someone. All right. Okay, so take care. Have a great day. And I will see you later. Bye-bye. Let me go ahead and end this escape. All right, and so I'm going to say bye-bye. And again, don't forget to check us out on nursesharkacademy.biz. Thanks a lot.